This conference will now be
Say it
recorded.
again.
You are from the pharma end?
The medical line.
Okay, so have you ever done scripting or have you ever learned scripting any point in time?
No.
Okay. So in that case, yeah, we'll need a little bit more help from your end first to get some basic ideas of any scripting, I'll help you out with what all topics I want you to go through. Nothing related with ServiceNow, but just for you to, get used to the technical terms when I say any of that. Okay?
Okay. That's fine. Just forward me any videos you want me to watch or any terms you want me to
Simple
familiarize
questions.
myself with.
No, I just want you to get through the simple questions. Nothing scripting learning as such, but just the terms like what is if, what is else, and stuff like that. I'll help you out with the list which I'm expecting you to go through. So you're looking for the developer part of the tool, correct? You want to be a developer of ServiceNow, correct?
Yes, I guess. Either administrator or developer. Yeah. Which one is the first step when it comes to ServiceNow?
Admin.
Say again?
Administrator, the admin.
Okay. I like
You
to
can
push
start
myself.
with the admin.
Yeah. So what are you going to be teaching in the class? Are you going to be teaching just the admin, or are you going to be teaching admin and developer?
So what we are doing it over here in this case, guys, both of you. So our training will start from admin. We'll first walk you through what admin people do as a role, as a responsibility and stuff. Then we'll be going towards the development, and then we'll be ending the training by even covering the integration for you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead. So before that, can I just get an overview of your technical background too?
Earlier, I'm a Java developer, so now I'm planning to learn ServiceNow. So as you mentioned, it's both administration and development. Development means it's full-fledged development you're going through, or just basics of development you're going to tell us in this session?
I'm going to tell you the full-fledged development. I'm going to teach you each and every aspect of ServiceNow scripting. So as part of this training, guys, ServiceNow is divided into different phases. UI training I'm not covering in this one. So UI is web pages, designing of the tool and all those stuff. It's not related to that. Our training is totally on the ITSM side of the tool. We are covering each and every aspect of ITSM, admin, developer plus integration. But UI training we are not doing it.
So that means it's full-fledged administration as well as development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Each attribute of that.
I'm good.
So is the UI training, is that like another part of ServiceNow? Or
sorry,
what does that fall under?
The UI
so the
part?
UI training, yeah, is that like something different, or does that fall on the developer?
That is also a developer's responsibility only, as in whenever you get the job profile into the market, the role is segregated, whether you are going to opt for a UI developer, whether you are going to opt for a, system developer, the one writing the scripts and all. So it's totally two different responsibility. If you are expertise in both, yes, you can fit it in both. But again, as I told you, like in my company, if I talk about, we have separate UI developers, and I'm not part of that team. Rather, I'm part of the development team of the tool, totally dedicated to the scripting section of the tool.
So what are the prerequisites to learn ServiceNow?
I really prefer the people who know the basics of any scripting. Like, let's say, for example, if I talk about a variable, what does that mean if the person understands? If, let's say, I talk about if loop, else, while, what is the difference between if and while? When I say string operators like concatenation or maybe, let's say, substring, these very basic I do expect from the student, because in that case, for me to make you understand the technical aspect quite becomes the easy part. That's why.
Okay, no background knowledge of programming is not required.
No. But for sure, basic will obviously be added onto your profile.
Okay.
And are you going to teach those basics?
As I told you, I'll be helping you out with the topics which you have to go through. I'll be giving you the list of them. Any other query, anyone, guys?
No, thank you.
Okay, so again, to let you know, this training will be a 30 days course, every day an hour each. In these 30 days, we'll try, as in 30 hours total, we'll try to cover the training. Okay. On a regular interval, guys, on each and every day, we'll be sharing the recording of the classes with you. Once a technical topic is done, we'll even be sharing some assignments which you can practice and show it as the solution in the next day for me to validate, for me to see, okay, is it good, or whatever the feedback I have to give it to you. At the end of the training, we'll also be helping you with the certification dumps, your resume preparation, as well as the interview preparation. So this is what my training is going to revolve around. Okay, so now let's proceed further. Let's first start to understand what is ServiceNow. Anyone, any idea, guys? What have you heard from your friends, from your colleagues? What is ServiceNow?
It's a ticketing tool.
When you say so, okay, what does that mean in a more specific terminology?
Like if the end user needs something, then they go on the ServiceNow platform to put in a request.
A request of what kind? As in, what can be the purpose of it? Can you give me an example in more detailed way? Yes, you are there on the correct path.
So when there are like incidents, maybe your computer is not coming on or your Outlook is not working, whatever is an incident that you are facing, then you put in a request for somebody from the company to assist in fixing it.
Have you gone through some basic overview of the tool, or how is it?
Say that again?
Have you gone through some basics of the tool? How do you know these concepts?
Have I gone through some basics of the tool?
As in, because yeah, you know all these technical terms. So I want to know, have you already used the tool, or how is it?
No, I just watched a few YouTube videos before coming to class. I didn't want to come with empty knowledge.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Aruna, what about you? Do you have any idea of the tool?
Like, I don't know anything about this one except it is a ticketing tool. Every company needs ServiceNow. That's it. Apart from that, I don't know much.
Okay, so let's proceed further, guys. Let's try to go ahead and see how will we use it, how will we configure it up over here in this one. So the first thing first, as both of you said, yeah, it is a ticketing tool. That is, the organization is going to use it for what? The organization, any company, any ABC company is going to raise ticket of certain calling into the tool. Can anyone of you help me in giving some example? See, I think you can help Aruna over here.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
No, I was saying, can you help Aruna in understanding what is incident? What is an idea of that?
Yeah. Oh, incident is any issues that the end user is facing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, Aruna, what happens is, whenever a company has been set up, what will happen? It will have employees, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, whenever employees are working over there, the employees may need some new offering from the company. The employee may need some issue fixes to be done by the technician in-house, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So at any given point in time, let's say we are working for an ABC company of any kind. It can even be a technical company. It can be even a pharma company, whatever the company may be. What we want to do is, we want in-house employees to interact with each other when they need to help each other, be it related to some issue or be it related to some newer functionalities, correct?
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm muting your line. Unmute when you have any query. I'm getting some disturbance from your. So what we need to understand, what ServiceNow says over here in this case, ServiceNow says at any given point in time, whenever we make use of a concept called ticketing tool, through the ticketing tool, people can raise tickets of certain kind. And when I try to elaborate these tickets, what all can be the purpose of these? As I told, the first scenario will be when employees need a new offering from the company. ABC company employee, let's say I joined the company newly. Suppose I'm going to join as a IT developer, let's say as a ServiceNow developer itself, or whatever my job profile may be. The minimal I need from the company is to give me a desktop or a laptop so that I can do the coding, whatever my job profile requires. So means when I join the company, or even if I'm part of the company, if a new project is allocated to me, that project requires me to have some extra softwares, hardwares, and stuffs like that. So how will I get it? I will be making use of a ticketing tool. I'll be using this tool, raising tickets to say, okay, so and so service offering I need it from the organization. Who will be delivering it to me? The delivery of it will be done by the concerned technicians. So let's say one IT support desk is there who will do all the laptop configuration for me and deliver it to me. So in that case, whenever I'll need a new offering, I'll make a request to the IT support desk. I'll ask them to deliver the same service to me, give me the same designing in here. Correct? Next thing over here can be if I already have a service. If I already have a service offering with me, what will be the next step? The next step is when I have the offering with me, what if today the offering is not working as desired? That is called incident. So again, the detail of this incident, the detail of this services, we'll see the life cycle and all those stuff. I'm making a very basic difference of that. That is, if I need a new offering, I'll make a service request. If I already hold the offering from the corporate endpoint, and today that offering is not working as desired, then I'll be raising an incident. So let's say I was having a laptop, and today the laptop is not booting me in. In that case, again, I may need help of a concerned technician team who will have to fix the issue for me, who will have to provide me the solution of the given fix of it. So in that case, I will be raising something called incident and getting help of them. Why do I need a ticketing tool in that case? Why don't we do it manually, guys? As in, I can, let's say I know in my team, the IT support desk is sitting at cubicle number 1. I can directly go over there and get the help from them. Why do I need a tool over here? What can you think about? Anyone? You want to give it a try? We will, if things were initially how it was done in any company, initially ticketing tool, this concept is quite new. It has been 10-12 years, but still, from the day one of the IT company, this tool concept was not there. But still, obviously, the company in-house employee used to help each other on a technical ground. So the problem was, let's say, for example, if I am IT support desk and every day I work 8 total hours, in those 8 hours, let's say every day 2-3 hours of mine are going in helping in-house resources itself. So it becomes difficult for me to justify my level of effort to my manager. If ticketing tool was not there, that is, if I was helping the in-house employees manually, my manager asks me, okay, how are you utilizing your 8 hours? I can only see for you that 5 or 4 hours you were helping the customer. So where are these rest of the hours going? It was quite difficult for the technician to justify that. Again, if me as an end user, if I was needing the help of a concerned technicians, I had to know if the tool was not there, I had to know, okay, which team is responsible for helping me. In that team, which person is responsible for helping me. So it was too much overhead on the employee. So it is always better if we have a tool where people raise ticket, technician picks it up for processing and for providing the help. Anyone, any query till here, guys? You can unmute yourself, guys, if you have any query, or you can even use the chat window. Okay, then I'll take it as a no. So now let's proceed further. So going into the slide over here, it says ServiceNow is a software platform. Why do we say it is a software platform? Because how do we access the tool? We access the tool through the URL provided by the ServiceNow. ServiceNow will share, the moment your company signs a contract with ServiceNow, ServiceNow will share a URL with your company employees. We'll be using the tool through a software-based interface. That is, we'll be typing the URL in your web browser. Through that, we'll be accessing the. Next over here is what it says. ServiceNow is a software platform which supports IT service management. That is, it is doing nothing but it is automating whatever is the day-to-day process of your company. Okay. Then it says it is a software as a service which contains number of application. Obviously, the ServiceNow will not only deliver it to you, an application for you to create service request and incident, but it will also give you n number of other options over there, n number of other applications along with these two as the baseline. Obviously, if a company is spending that much to get a tool, to use a ticketing tool, it should not be limited only to two of the scopes, only to do two of the applications. So a number of other applications are there whose life cycle will be seeing it after some time. Okay. What is the next one over here? The next thing over here in this one is your, it says it contains number of instances and number of user. What does that mean? What ServiceNow says, when your company signs the contract with ServiceNow, ServiceNow says, okay, I'll give it to your company minimum of 3 different URLs. Why? Because it says, okay, your company will be using one URL to do all the development activity. Okay. Whenever the development is done, then the company will be needing another URL where the testers will be testing whether the new functionality built is working as desired or not. So that will be called as your test URL. The third one over here is what? The third one over here in this particular one up is going to your production or the go live URL, which your actual customers will be using whenever we have to raise tickets of certain kind. So means 3 URL is being delivered. Let's repeat the process. Let's repeat the reasoning in over here in this case. That the first URL is going to be used for the developer. Developer means the people like us who is going to customize the tool at any given point in time. So developer people like us, if any new application we have to build it for ServiceNow, if any new feature we have to do it for our customer. And when I talk about development, ServiceNow tool enhancement I'm talking about. So that will be done in the developer URL. Second, it will be done in the test URL. Testers will be testing the functionality. Once me as a developer, I'm done with the development, testers will be testing the functionality in another URL called test environment or test URL. See, does it make sense now? No, it is. So what happens is by default, your company is only getting 3 URLs: dev, test, production. But if your company wants even a UAT URL where customers can do a final sign off after testing is done. So what happens is in that case, developer team will do development. In testing, testers will test. After testing is done, then the user acceptance will come. If your company also wants UAT environment where users can sign off, even that is doable. But in that case, if your company wants more URL, your company will have to pay extra to ServiceNow, because ServiceNow is saying by default, I'm only going to give you 3 URL. If you want more than 3, pay extra. Then you can even get a UAT URL. Does it make sense to you to hear? Okay. Madhu, I can see you have joined. Can we go through your technical background, please?
Yeah, I am so far a database developer. So just wanted to see what is ServiceNow doing, the concepts of ServiceNow.
So you want to move towards the ServiceNow profile, or how is it?
Just I want to see because I hear about ServiceNow these days a lot. So I wanted to see what is this.
So you're just using it for the learning purpose. You are not sure,
Yeah,
sure about the
yeah,
part.
for learning purpose. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So seeing you have a question over here saying that can everything be done in one? Let's see why ServiceNow gave you three different URL. Now, let's say all the three set of people are using the same URL. I got a requirement to build so and so application. I went ahead and started the development in the same URL which customers are also using, which production of the go live URL. Let's say in that only I started the development. I'm still doing the development, so I started some debugging and all those stuff. What if those debuggers messages also pop up for customer? Will they be okay? Obviously not. Or for example, let's say I've started the development and today end of the day it has reached, the development is still not complete. I still need this entire week to complete. Maybe the requirement is quite big. So in that case, what will happen? So in such particular case, for sure, what we'll have to do is for sure, we'll end up, hampering each other's work. If I'm not able to complete the work in a day, you will get some unwanted messages and whatnot. If I'm able to complete the work, and now if the testers are testing the same in the same URL, the end users will get confused. Okay, which is actual data created or which is the test data created? So it is very much confusing over there. Which is the purpose of which ticket? Who is using the tool for what purpose and all those stuff? So that's why always ServiceNow says, I am going to give you three URLs. You use it for the different set of people. Don't combine it in a single URL. Does it make sense over here, Sri? Are you able to relate? Okay. So now proceeding further. So as I told you over here in this case, Madhu, till here we have just started with this slide. I'm there on the first slide itself. I've just given the people an overview of the tool. What is it used for and what is the purpose of that? So maybe that you can have a look into the recording. You can let me know in the next session if you will have any query till there. Okay. So now let's proceed further, guys. So what we need to understand over here in this case is the next thing which we need to understand over here in this case is if you see over here, we are also using a term that ServiceNow is a software-based service. What do we mean by that? So any tool if we develop, guys, irrespective whether it's ticketing or whatever it may be, any tool if we develop, it can be delivered either as a platform as a service or as a software as a service. So what we need to understand now is we need to understand, okay, what is the difference between the two? What is a software as a service and what is a platform as a service? Now, let's see that with an example. Let's try to understand that with an example. Let's say I went into the market and I purchased a library management tool. If I purchase a tool as a platform as a service, let's say this particular library management I purchased as a platform as a service means the day I signed the contract with the tool owners, now the entire platform of the tool is given to me. Means now, in that case, the DB of the tool will have to be maintained by me itself. But if I purchase the tool as a software as a service, means in that case, still the tool owner is going to maintain the database and the server for me. I'm just going to use the tool as a customer, but the DB and the server will always be maintained by the tool owners, which is more easy, which looks more flexible, guys. Obviously, it looks better if I'm using a tool as a software as a service. Obviously, it'll have its own extra charges because obviously the tool is still being maintained by the tool owners. But again, the overhead on your company will be quite less. Correct? So that's why at any given point in time, what can we understand is that that's why at any particular point in time, we can understand that we can go ahead into the tool and it will be better. For example, in this particular case, if I talk about ServiceNow is delivered as a software as a service. Yeah, DB means database. That's a shortcut of the database. Now you may have a query that, okay, if ServiceNow is having the access of the database, as I told you, ServiceNow is getting used as software as a service. So in that case, can me as a developer access the database? No, you can't have access to the database any point in time. Whenever you are going to work as a ServiceNow developer, you can never ever have access to the database of the tool. You can never do that. It will always be maintained and worked upon by your ServiceNow parent company. That's how it is structured. Okay. The next aspect which we need to understand over here is what? The next aspect which we need to understand over here in this particular one up is that for us to understand this concept software as a service most easy way, I would take the example of what? I would take the example over here in this case of your Google or your YouTube. We even use Google and YouTube as what? We even use your Google and YouTube as a software as a service. That is, in that case, we just go ahead, we create our account and we are good to go. We don't have to take care about the database and the server of the tool. It is always getting maintained by the Google parent company, correct? So that is also an example of software as a service. Okay, so let's proceed further. So this in this particular slide, we understood three concepts over here. What is software as a service? What do we mean by multiple instance? And what are the common business processes of the company? As I talked about, common business can be when someone needs a new offering from the company, or when someone is already holding a feature, a new offering, but today, if it is not working as desired, even that will be what? Even that will be an example of your common business processes. In this slide, again, I'm just giving you what? Again, in this particular slide, I'm just giving you the full form of the software as a service. What is the full form? It stands for software as a service. How does it work? It is used to remotely access the DB. Through the software service, the database is getting accessed how? Through the web-based interface. We type in the URL, that URL in return in the backend connects with the database, gets you the data, whatever you are accessing it for, whatever the use case can be. It says in this particular model, the software will be centrally hosted. Now let's proceed further. History of the tool. When was the tool found? This tool was found in 2003 by a guy called Fred Luddy. This guy was initially working for Remedy Corporation. Have you heard about Remedy, guys? Anyone? Or have you guys used Jira, Remedy, any of such tools in your organization?
Yeah, I used Jira.
What do you use it for?
For creating stories, for agile methodologies we use, like for creating issues and stories.
Correct. At any given point in time, whenever we have to go ahead into the system perspective, we have to create the tickets into the tool. Yes, we can use these ticketing tools. We can raise the tickets over there. We can update the ticket, move it further through their life cycle. Correct? So if I talk about these tools prior to ServiceNow, so actually ServiceNow, when it came in 2003, prior to that, there were n number of tools already there in the market with the similar concept. So the most important, some of the most vital components or the vital competitors of ServiceNow was Remedy was there, HP Service Manager was there, IBM's tool, IBM Tivoli was there, so on and so forth. So if n number of these tools were already there in the market with quite well set up business, obviously ServiceNow had to deliver something extra so that the companies move towards ServiceNow in comparison to any other tool. So ServiceNow brought up a concept over here called your software as a service in this case. So the prior tools were getting delivered to the company as a platform as a service means in the prior tool, the DB was also being delivered to your company. So means in that case, your company will have to hire people who do understand DB so that even the DB can be taken care of. When ServiceNow came, it told no, I'm delivering the tool as a software as a service in which the DB, the server of the tool, will be maintained by the tool owners yet. So in that case, obviously the companies were more happy with that process. Why were they more happy with this process? Because the overhead on the company decreases when it is working this way. Okay, so I hope we are making sense till here, guys.
Yeah, you mean to say instead of maintaining the whole platform by themselves, they're making use of that platform as a service.
No, I'm saying in the platform as a service, the entire tool is, let's say, for example, let's say all of us, we work for, let's say, Apple. If Apple is purchasing a tool as a platform as a service, means this entire tool is now going to be maintained by the Apple company. The database of the tool, the server of the tool, everything has to be maintained by Apple company. If any tool or if the same tool is getting purchased as a software or as a service, in that case, the Apple tool will only have to hire developers who can customize the UI of this tool to fit in Apple's own need, but the database and the server of the tool will still be maintained by the tool owners. It is better. Obviously, it will be better if it is software as a service, because as I told you, in this case, database and the server will be maintained by tool owners. So the overhead on us in this given case will be more or less. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the case in here. It says ServiceNow was founded in 2003 by a guy called Fred Luddy. Fred Luddy was initially actually working for Remedy. From there, he got the idea of the ticketing tool, but again, as he wanted to make its demand better in the market, he came up with this concept called software as a service. Okay. So let's proceed further. So the next thing it says is ServiceNow is based on ITIL standard. What is that? We'll see in the next session, guys. Next is its headquarters is in California. What is ITIL standard? So actually it is a standard. It is a process concept over here in this particular one. Is at any given point in time, whenever we are making use of whenever we are making use of your tool and we follow this ITIL standard gives us n number of benefits into the tool. So now we need to understand okay, what is the use case of it? How does it make it the tool better? That detail we'll cover in tomorrow's session, guys, because it's just demo class. So demo classes will have for a shorter duration because we still have not got the confirmation and all. So once after the regular confirmation of the class, then we'll have a regular and our class daily. Also, one more thing, guys. Can we have the class IST 5:30 a.m.? Any one of you from India? Are you guys okay with IST 5:30 a.m.? I really don't know what time it is for you. Can you convert and let me know? Are you guys okay with that or not?
What about 6:30?
So 6:30, actually, I have a batch running. So in another 5 or max a week, it should be covered. So once done, then I'll shift you guys to 6:30.
So you mean for first 1 week you will take a session at 5:30 and after that you will move the session to 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good, but let's get the opinion of others also.
Yeah. Others, any issue? Any concern? Can take it as a no issue. Sin, we can't hear you. Once, and I think I'll have to unmute your line. Just once. Yeah, please go ahead. I unmuted it.
You said 5:30 Indian time?
Yeah.
What time is it there now? What time is it right now?
Right now it is 8 a.m.
8. Because I'm in Central. So right now it's 8 a.m. So 5:30 would be, yeah, okay, that's fine. It'll be around like 6:30.
Okay. Okay, then tomorrow we'll catch up at that given point in time, guys. We'll join at IST 5:30 a.m. We'll have the demo after your confirmation. After tomorrow's demo, we'll take the class further with an hour duration. Whatever we are covering right now, guys, is going to be part of your training. So I would say don't take it light. Keep asking or getting used to the tool with these concepts. These will not be repeated because these are still part of the training itself. Okay, then guys, let's catch up tomorrow. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.
Are we done for today?
Yeah, it's just a demo, so demo will be only for half an hour to 40 minutes, not more than that.
Okay, but I still don't understand what exactly
Mhm.
do the ServiceNow administrators do? What exactly is the job?
They do the maintenance of the tool. So when I say the maintenance, how is the tool being used, or let's say if a customer need access into the tool, you will be granting them the access. Let's say if a customer says, okay, for me, incident lifecycle is not working fine, so you will help them in understanding where are they facing the issue. Let's say if they are not able to see certain data, select certain data, what is the cause of it? So again, even if you're going to join as the admin, you have to get the basic idea of the tool so that you can do the initial round of debugging. If it requires, if the fix requires scripting, you will go to developer, ask them to write the script. But for sure, the initial round of understanding or analysis of the issue will be done by you.
So you have to be techie a little bit. You
Yeah,
have to know how to move.
yeah.
But you said we don't need a technical background, but it sounds like I will probably need, you know.
You will not be
Go ahead.
needing scripting background because when you're going to be admin, you will not be writing scripting that frequently, but you will be understanding the tool. Your understanding of the tool must be very much clear.
But for developer, I need to have a technical background.
Yeah. I would not say that as a must. What I would say is, so if what I have seen it in the past with other students also, even if you are not from the technical background, once you see the tool, I would say don't make a decision now. It's very early stage. Have a look into one or two of the developer session also. Then make your call. How do you want to take your profile into? Because even if I give you a commitment that okay, you don't need that much technical expertise, you will not get that much comfortable with it. Correct? So spend some days, have a look into it, then maybe you can make a decision how you want your profile to. Because obviously, if you go for developer, the market is more, correct? Support is more limited scope. So I would say give it a try for developer. If you can learn and understand it, what better than that?
So which profile is better to like
Obviously,
administrator?
developer.
Developer is the best. So how do you tell are there opportunities more like administrator and developer for service now? How are the openings
So
now?
right now, ServiceNow is quite a booming tool because almost every company, be it IT, non-IT, I've even seen Domino's using ServiceNow, Apple is using ServiceNow. Even I've seen insurance company, medical company, pharma and all using ServiceNow. So currently, because of its benefit, across the globe, I've seen n number of companies and they are still expanding to use ServiceNow. So obviously, because of that, the market is too much booming right now for ServiceNow. So minimum for next 5-6 years, the market is going to be good. Obviously, after that, I can't give you a commitment on. So that way, I would say go for developer because obviously the package and the switching opportunity becomes better there.
Okay, but when it comes to the certifications, I know they have their admin certificate. Do they have
Mhm.
also a certificate for developer?
Yeah, they do have. They have admin, developer, as well as the implementation.
What is implementation?
In implementation, they talk about the integrations, the ACLs, and all the stuff. We still don't know the terminology, so I'm not going to the detail of it. But yeah, they have their own course content segregated there.
Are you going to be going over that also in class or no?
Yeah, I'm going to complete till the integration, so it includes everything as such required.
What is the architect? Which one is that?
The architect is nothing but who are the expertise, who have the expertise of the tool. Like if I talk about my profile, I'm working as an architect, which means for past 11 years, I'm into service now only, guys. So for me to be having the role and responsibility for such long, to be dedicatively in the same tool, obviously I do know how the project works, how can we propose the solutioning of it and stuffs like that. So architect is no one but where you do the solutioning of the project overall. You are not building the tool from scratch. You're not doing scripting as such. But yeah, in that case, you are letting other developers know. You are picturizing for them. Okay, you for this particular application, you need to build this. So you are helping them with the components as such.
Okay. All right.
Okay then, guys. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.